It's easy to look away, to tell yourself it's not your business. Every day, I passed a gray apartment building with a secret on the third-floor balcony: a dog. At first, I tried to rationalize it. Maybe he was just out for air. Maybe he had a bed inside. But the truth seeped in. He was always there, alone. No water bowl, no toy, just a dog and empty space. As autumn turned to winter, I'd pull my coat tighter and look up at him. He had no escape from the cold. He was a prisoner on a tiny square of concrete, exposed to the elements. I felt helpless. What could I do? The fear of confrontation kept me moving. People don't like when you meddle, especially about their pets. What if I made things worse for the dog? So, like many, I kept walking, even as my conscience screamed at me to stop. But his eyes started to haunt me, empty, profoundly sad. He watched the world below, waiting for someone who never came. My inaction was a choice. By doing nothing, I was accepting his reality. I was silently agreeing it was okay for him to be cold, alone, forgotten. That realization became unbearable. The promise I made to not get involved felt like a betrayal, to him and to my own sense of right and wrong. I realized walking by was no longer an option. The dog's silent plea was breaking down my walls, one brick at a time. I couldn't ignore him anymore. The easy path, looking away, wasn't an option I could live with. I had to do something. The first step was admitting the truth. He needed help, and I was the only one who seemed to see him. He was a statue carved from loneliness. His tail never wagged, his fur was matted, and he was painfully thin. He spent his days curled on cold concrete, no bed, no comfort. His whimpers were soft, desperate, carried away by the wind. He pressed his nose to the railings, longing for a world he couldn't reach. Rain and cold became his constant companions. He shivered, soaked, and alone. Over time, he stopped reacting, shutting down, becoming a ghost of a dog. His spirit was crushed, his suffering invisible to those who should have cared. He was a silent sentinel, a living testament to the cruelty of being forgotten. He needed someone to see him, to care, to act. I tried to ask neighbors about the dog. Not my dog, not my problem, one shrugged. Another dog owner advised, it's best not to get involved. At the coffee shop, people complained about the barking, never the suffering. The dog was seen as a nuisance, not a victim. The indifference was chilling, a wall of silence, a conspiracy of looking away. No one wanted to get involved. Everyone had made peace with the cruelty. Their apathy was as cruel as the neglect itself. It validated the owner's actions, making the dog invisible. I realized if no one else would be his voice, I had to be. The silence of others fueled my resolve. Waiting for someone else to act was no longer an option. The world had turned away, but I couldn't. I decided to break the silence. It was time to speak up for him. The breaking point came on a freezing, rainy night. I sat in my warm home, haunted by the thought of him shivering outside. Every excuse I'd made for not acting felt hollow. My conscience outweighed my fear. I couldn't sleep, couldn't distract myself. After midnight, I stood at my window and made a decision. The discomfort of getting involved was nothing compared to his suffering. True compassion means action, not just feeling sorry. As dawn broke, I felt a calm resolve. No more walking by, no more hoping someone else would help. The responsibility was mine because I saw and cared. I didn't know exactly what to do, but I knew I had to do something. The time for watching was over. It was time to act. The next morning, I began documenting. I filmed the dog on the balcony, shivering, alone, no food or water. I took photos for several days, showing his ongoing neglect. Each image was evidence, not just a story. I researched how to report animal cruelty and gathered everything I needed. I sent a detailed email to Animal Control attaching the evidence. I posted in a local community group asking others to report what they'd seen. The response was immediate. Neighbors who'd ignored him now saw the truth. My single voice, backed by proof, broke through the wall of indifference. People realized how bad it was and joined in. The evidence turned concern into action. I wasn't alone anymore. Together, we demanded help for him. 2 days later, I saw an animal control van outside the building. Officers spoke with the manager, then went inside. I watched, heart pounding as they reached the balcony. The owner argued, but the officers stayed calm. One officer knelt, speaking gently to the dog. For the first time, his tail gave a hesitant wag, a flicker of hope. They slipped a lead around his neck and led him inside. Soon, the officers emerged with the dog wrapped in a warm blanket. He walked on grass, blinking in the daylight, overwhelmed but free. Our eyes met for a moment, a look of confusion, relief, and connection. He was finally being cared for. As the van drove away, I cried tears of relief and gratitude. The long days of worry and fear were worth it. He was on his way to a better life. Hope had finally arrived. The story didn't end with his rescue. I called the shelter. He was safe, recovering, and had a name, Max. He was underweight, scared, but in good hands. Updates showed his transformation, from a frightened, broken dog to one learning to trust and play. His tail wagged, his coat shone, and the light returned to his eyes. A month later, the shelter posted a photo Max, adopted by a loving family. He had a yard children and a new life. He went from a shadow of neglect to a beacon of hope. Looking back, I remember the days I walked by. It's easy to become numb to suffering, but Max's story is a lesson in noticing, caring, and acting. One person can make a difference. One act of courage can change a life. No animal should be invisible. No cry for help should go unheard. Max was not just a rescued dog, he was a teacher. He taught me that empathy without action is just a feeling. When you act, you can create miracles. You can help write a new, happy ending.